Hello, everybody. From Frets and Fingers, I'm Alex Picard, and you're watching the Jam Sesh. Today, we are joined by guitarist and content creator Chas Evans from the channel Chevins Music. Chas consistently posts instructional guitar content, allowing him to amass over 1 million followers across his platform. Join us as we chat about content creation, guitar business, and much more. Without further ado, Chas Evans, welcome to the Jam Sesh.
Alex, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Yes, well, thank you so much for being here. And I guess just for the audience, obviously, you have a lot more followers than I do, so most people will know who you are. But please introduce yourself, kind of your little bit of your background in guitar and whatnot.
Sure. Well, it's kind of a weird story. When I was about 13, I started playing guitar. I was in my mom's Chevy Lumina, and we were listening to John Anderson. And I said, "Hey, Mom, I want to play guitar." And I was really lucky to come from a super musical family. So like my granddad taught me my first chords, and like the next day, I was in a bluegrass band. So, that was a lot of fun. So I got to be in a bluegrass band as soon as I started. And I recommend that to everybody. Go ahead and start playing with other people immediately. You don't have to wait until you think you know enough to start playing with people. Go ahead and be around those that start playing. So, I play guitar, and I went to college at the University of Southern Mississippi and studied classical guitar under Giovanni De Chiaro there. I was fortunate enough to have him as a teacher. He's fantastic. And played Carnegie Hall back in 2005 with the Mississippi Guitar Quartet. And in 2007, I lost a whole bunch of weight and joined the Army and, and got deployed to Iraq. I got to see Iraq and all that stuff. And then I came home and, I got out of the military and I started teaching at a community college here in Mississippi. So now I'm a guitar teacher and content creator. And I started creating content a couple years ago, and I'm about to do that full time, and I'm super excited about that.
That's awesome. So actually, I'll touch on a couple of those things. But so you said you started off in bluegrass, and I think you're right. That's probably a good place to start because there's that communal aspect, and you also kind of
Sure.
need to be quite. I don't know. I feel like you need to have quite a bit of theory knowledge. Maybe not, but I feel like there's quite a bit of theory that goes into bluegrass. I know most music does, but I feel like especially bluegrass.
Well, you become very familiar with 1, 4, and 5, especially in the key of G, and then in bluegrass, you have to walk and walk to those chords.
Right.
But
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
you
So
you you become very familiar with 1, 4, and 5 in there. But yeah, it was a great experience and one that I'm very blessed and fortunate to have had. So
So yeah, and then you went into classical music. You were saying like you were studying classical. So did like what part of bluegrass kind of helped you on your kind of classical journey? Would you say?
well, it's really weird. I don't know if you're familiar with the movie Crossroads with Ralph Macchio. You ever seen that?
Okay. So I haven't seen the whole movie, but I've seen the clips necessary in that
You've seen
movie.
the end.
Yes, exactly.
Well, in that movie, Ralph Macchio was a classical guitarist, and he was studying at Juilliard. And he was super interested in blues music. And I watched that movie, and been playing guitar for a few years. I'd never heard anything like that before. I'd never heard classical guitar, the first thing I thought when I heard it was, "Wow, that sounds like two guitars playing at the same time." But it's one guy, and I thought it was fantastic. And I started looking into that, and I just kind of went into it from that. After I saw that movie, it's a really weird thing, but that movie really inspired me to go into classical guitar, and I actually took it all the way, and I got my master's. And another thing that I'm thankful for. Thanks, Ralph Macchio.
That's awesome. And then so you said a couple of years ago. Like, so how many years now have you been creating content? Because to be honest, I was on your Instagram and I tried scrolling far back to see when you first posted. But honestly, I'm pretty sure I saw you have like over 3,000 videos. So I would have been scrolling for 20 kilometers or something or miles.
Yeah,
Sorry, you're in the U.S.
I post a lot, and that's one of the pieces of advice I would give new content creators is post consistently and post a lot, especially if you do shorts. So I try to post at least 3 times a day, and I've been doing that for a couple of years. Whether I don't feel like it, whether I've worked all day and I'm exhausted, I still post those 3 times a day and super consistent with that. And that has really created a following for me. So yeah, it's only been a couple of years. I started right after, well, I started a little bit after we came back from COVID. which was what, 22. We came back in 21, 22, something like that. So ever since then, I've been posting content since then, and it's been a like a roller coaster, man. It's been great.
Yeah, well, I think 100% the consistency plays a lot, and the fact that you were able to keep that like stamina and momentum and post like 3 times a day. Is that so 3 videos, or is that including like your where you post like your memes and whatnot on your?
Oh, I'm not even including those. Like
Oh wow.
that's just videos. I post 3 videos a day, and then in between those, I post like memes and things.
So do you
Uh,
have someone who helps run your channels at this point because you're so big, or is it all you?
that's all me, man.
Wow, that
Yeah,
is
it's
wild.
it's me running, and it's not just Instagram. It's TikTok and YouTube and Facebook. I have all of those, and I'm really thankful to my fans. They kind of keep me going, and the words of encouragement really keep me going, and that's the whole point. I think if you approach this from the heart of a teacher, which is what I wanted to do, the whole reason I got into creating content was when we came back from COVID, and I came back to my studio where I was teaching students. I had no students. I had like 3 students. Whereas before COVID, I had a very full studio. When we came back, there was no one. And then we had a conference, and I got together with my other guitar buddies here in Mississippi, and I said, "Hey guys, we got to do something, man. Nobody. It feels like nobody's interested in guitar anymore. How do we reach them? What are we gonna do?" So I came home and I thought about it, and my kids were on TikTok, and I was like, "Well, if they're on TikTok, then every other kid is on TikTok too." And that's kind of where I got my start. I started posting short, bite-sized videos that you could learn something in like 15 seconds. You could sit down and learn something in 15 seconds. Because when a lot of people are scrolling through and they have an interesting guitar and the algorithm sees that, it'll show them a video of somebody doing like all the slap pop stuff. It's If you're a beginner and you've never seen that, how do you even approach that? I mean, how do you even say, "Well, wow, I'll be one day be able to do that"? They wouldn't even know where to start. So I wanted to show them you could play something if you sit down and play this video for about, just a couple of times over and over for 15 seconds. You could play the song, and people really took to that, and I just started creating content from that. So it was really to bring guitar to people, and I'm hoping that's what's happening, and it looks like that's what's happening. I've been watching your man on the street videos where you go
Oh
up to
nice.
people. Yeah, it's been great, man. You go up to people and you say, "Hey, do you play guitar?" And I see that you get a lot of I don'ts, and I'm trying to eliminate the I don'ts. I want everybody to play guitar. So I'm hoping to get you some more, people that play guitar on your videos.
Some I do's. Yeah, no, that's great, and I like your style of content because you said like it's very simplistic. 15 seconds. You put the shapes up there, what in the chord progression, and then you just play it. So for you, you're saying you're posting, let's say, 3 videos a day. How many, when you sit down to shoot a video, how many are you normally shooting in one like filming session?
It really depends. It depends on if something new's coming out that I want to cover. Like if what's the last big thing? Peaches, 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 peaches. When I saw that was becoming a big thing, I wanted to sit down and do a video on that. But a lot of times I have everything planned out. So I have a book of dates and videos. All right, I'm going to do these 3 this day and these 3 this day. So I'll sit down and record 4 or 5 days worth of videos. I do that now. Before, a year ago, I was doing one like 3 every day. I sit down, I do 3 that night, and that's the video I'm going to do at 6, the one at 9, and then the next one at 9 a.m. in the morning the next day. So I would do 3 every day. But now I've gotten a little smarter about it. I do a little bit more planning, and I'll sit down and record 5 to 6 days of videos all at once.
Wow, that's awesome,
Yeah,
man.
that
And so
that cuts down on the time a little bit. Not to mention, I live in rural Mississippi, so this is something I didn't factor in. Is when I would sit down to upload, I had like 10 meg download speed. So I'd have to sit there for 30 minutes and upload to all my socials. Thank goodness I have fiber now, so it's a lot faster.
yes, that's great. And so you found 6 p.m., 9 p.m., and 9 a.m. are your posting times you find are the best. Is that?
Well, for me, yeah, and I'm not tied to those. If it's a little bit backwards or forward, it's but those for me, like I find my followers are most active. My big one is 9 a.m. I have to hit that one. That's the big one, and that's Central Time. I'm on Central. So when I look at my metrics, I show whatever on TikTok, it's like 30,000 followers are active at 9 a.m. I try to hit those at 9 a.m. for sure. That's the big one for me.
Okay, nice. Yeah, and I saw your TikTok. You have just as many followers as you do on your Instagram. So I'm assuming you cross post everything, right? Across all your
Yes.
platforms.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
do.
what's Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, he talks a lot
Mhm.
about it. He's like, oh, you need to post specific content for each platform, but I'm also in the same boat as you. Like I'm trying to post consistently, but it's like I don't have time to be like, not that I don't have time, like whatever, I should make the time, but like to make specific videos for each platform just seems a little bit out of reach at this point, especially just trying to grow my following. Maybe later on once I have a larger following. But like
Sure.
but I find for me as well, like it seems to do well. I've gained enough followers on all my platforms just cross posting. I don't see an issue with that. And I'm assuming you haven't either, right?
No, I really mine are very generic. What works on TikTok will typically work on Instagram. It's just different hashtags and maybe a little bit different wording on the titles, but everything pretty much works across the board. Yeah, YouTube Shorts is kind of slow growing. I've been working at it for the same amount of time, and I have 70,000 something followers on YouTube, which is pretty good for just shorts. And that's one of the things I'm kind of kicking myself about is I don't do long form videos like Marty Schwartz. He's kind of the king of a guitar content, and he does some really great stuff. The dude is just killing it. He's awesome. And his long form videos on YouTube are fantastic. And that's something that I'm going to do now that I have a little bit more time. I'm going to start trying to break into the world of long form videos on YouTube.
That's great. And I'm assuming you're saying you have more time in terms of you said you're going to be full time content creator at the start of this. You said you're like finally reaching that point where now you can just be creating content full time.
Yes,
I'm assuming
by
that
the
makes sense.
time this is posted, I will be full-time content creator, and that's been my plan. I'm really excited to do that. I'm hoping to reach more people that way, and super excited to have more time to put into this. I get a lot of fulfillment from this, helping people, and like I said, approaching it from a teacher's heart, and just a lot of fun. And I want to do this for the rest of my life, I think.
That's awesome. And you were talking about the ways you would support yourself doing that. You have your Guitar 101
Mhm.
class. Maybe you want to talk about that a little bit, like how you built out that platform and how you kind of pull your followers to there too, and all that.
Yeah, I actually have a partner. His name's Adam, and he helps me with all that stuff. So I didn't do all that myself. Now I'm building Guitar 101. I recorded all the content. He helped me bill it out and do all the funneling and all that stuff. But Guitar 101 is my community, my guitar community. It's hosted on School, which is a platform, and man, the students I have on there, it's just really cool to watch them progress. I can watch them progress. They can post. So we have a whole community aspect where you can post videos. So like if I give you something to work on, you can post yourself and let everybody else see your progress right there within school. I teach on Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Central, a group lesson with all of my school participants. So you get like 15 plus hours of all this masterclass content that I've pre-recorded. You can watch all that, and then every Thursday you can ask me questions. We do song requests. We learn new techniques and things. So every Thursday, and all those classes are recorded too. So if you miss class, you can just go back and rewatch that. And right now it's $47 a month, and I think it's one of the greatest things out there, man. Because I specialize in beginners and intermediate players. Not a lot of people uh, specialize just in beginners. Like I specialize just in that because I love watching beginners progress. I love watching people realize they can play a E minor and then play A2, and then wow, I can kind of play that, and it sounds like something. I love watching that light bulb moment for students. It's really fun for me. And Guitar 101 allows me to do that on a weekly basis. So it's just a lot of fun on there. Really excited about it.
No, that's great, and I think you kind of made a good point there. I think it's hard for some teachers who have progressed so far in their music career to be able to kind of bring themselves back to day one and be like, hey, what was I like struggling with, right? So I think that's good that you're able to offer that, and you say you specialize in that because that's actually probably a huge thing.
Yeah, I actually prefer to teach beginners and intermediate players. I love them. I love watching them realize that they can actually do it. They can actually play the guitar and have fun with it, and it can be a companion for life. Just I love watching that. So
Yeah, and so you say you use School. It's funny. I was just talking to this guy named Alex Graff. He's a bluegrass content creator, and I talked to him yesterday. He's also on School. And so, what? How did you hear about using School as a platform? Did your partner kind of suggest it, or like
Yeah,
what
he
made the
did.
choice of it? Yeah.
I had never heard of it before, and when I started looking into it, I was like, wow, there's so many things we can do with this. It's like it's Facebook, but it's your own community where you can talk to people, chat with them. There's an awards board, like you get awards for posting so much in there, and for some reason they really love that. So everybody posts a lot, and they love to see their little posting score go up. It's just a lot of fun. So they kind of gamified a way to really enjoy learning the guitar. It's cool.
Right. And yeah, I think you were going back to when you were talking about the long form content on YouTube. I think a lot of people struggle with that, like trying to figure out how to go about the long form. Because the short form, you can try so many different ideas, right? Where,
Yeah.
and I think you were
Like,
very,
what am I going to do? Am I going to do gear reviews? What am I going to show people different guitars? Am I going to just teach lessons? Am I going to do a little bit of all of it? It's hard to find like the niche. And I watch, like 60 Cycle Hum. I love watching that guy. He's fantastic. I don't know if you're familiar with 60 Cycle Hum. He does like pedals and guitars. He just does gear reviews. And I love watching his stuff. I'm thinking, could I do gear reviews? I don't know. I think I want to teach more, but what will be different on YouTube than what I do for my shorts? I'm still struggling to figure that out.
right. And it's funny you mentioned Marty Schwartz. I saw he's following you, which is like a huge, that's a
Oh
very
yeah.
cool thing. That's awesome. Have you chatted with him at all, or has he just kind of followed you from seeing your content?
I haven't chatted with him. It's kind of one of my pet peeves if somebody like big follows you, trying to, just let them follow you and follow them back. I like to get up in their business and be like a super fan. But rest assured, I am a Marty Schwartz super fan. I would love to speak with him. Another big one that follows me is Slash. That's really cool.
What? No
Yes.
way.
Yeah, I've had to really stop myself from trying to talk to him.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
super exciting to see, Slash follow me. But that was really cool. But yeah, rest assured, I'm a Marty Schwartz super fan. I love what that guy's doing.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, he's definitely the OG. I remember way back in the day him posting like guitar tutorials like
Oh yeah,
since
he's
YouTube.
been
Yeah.
doing it over a decade, I think, and he's been doing it a long, long time. And that's kind of a message to content creators, especially in music. Just don't stop. Keep posting, post often, and you'll learn how to do it. And that's what I did when I first started. And you'll hear this from content creators. My first videos were terrible. They were awful. The sound was bad. The video quality was bad. But just doing it, you get better at it, and you learn how to do it. So it's not. You don't just post consistently for followers. You post consistently as practice to get better at content creation.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it for sure. And
Mhm.
like for myself, I'm 60. I just posted episode 68 of that, like going on the streets and asking people, and like I've definitely improved a lot of things. And then recently, I just downloaded a new editor to start editing my videos. And I'm like, wow, this is way better than the this free editor I was using for the last year.
Yeah.
I'd put my video in there, and it would take almost an hour just to load the video. And then I downloaded CapCut. I know it's like probably just like a very basic one, but CapCut I just
That's great, man.
yeah, I dragged all I paid for the premium there. I just dragged all my videos in, everything loaded right away. There's all these great filters, like transitions. I'm like, holy heck, like this is what I need. Like, where was this a year ago? So you're right, just
So see,
learning along the way.
it took you a year to figure out, hey, I need to be using a different video editor and I can do a whole bunch of stuff, but you figured that out, right? So that's
Yeah,
kind of the whole point behind doing it and doing it consistently. You keep doing it and you find those things. Like I started using, what did I start using? I was using Movie on Apple, and then I finally started using like Adobe, like Premiere and stuff like that. And that took everything kind of to the next level. So yeah, you figure all that stuff out the more you do it. That's great,
and
man.
what kind of camera do you like right now? Are you just on a webcam or what's going on?
This is just my laptop camera. I try to keep up with newer stuff. This is like an M3 MacBook, so it's like one of the newer MacBooks, and it's got a really nice video camera. The key to this though is lighting. I have good
Okay,
lighting.
okay,
Really,
interesting.
yeah.
That's good. Yeah, just so you know, whatever you're seeing here on the webcam is not what I have. Like a separate camera shooting. Well,
Sure.
it's actually sorry, it's my separate camera. It's my phone, my iPhone shooting my side of it just to give like a little bit of a better quality. But okay, so interesting. It's just your laptop. I'm trying to learn these things because yeah, your videos are really like clean and clear. So it was curious. But
Well,
you
now when
shoot.
for my videos, no, when I shoot my videos, I use my phone for that.
Okay.
I use the front-facing camera on my phone for when I shoot
Use
videos.
the front facing, eh? Okay, interesting. That's what I'm using
For
right
me,
now, and
it's
I thought it would bring down the quality using the front facing, but I need to see what the angle is, you know?
for me, it's all about lighting, man. I figured out that if you put different lighting and then maybe a filter or two, Adobe's really good about filters. I'll throw a good filter on there and it'll crisp the image right up. But for me, it was all you have to have a really bright place. It's dark, but I can light it. So this is studio lighting, or outside. Like natural light. It works really good. I recently went to New Orleans, and some of the footage I got from New Orleans on a very sunny day in New Orleans just looks great, and that's all on a front-facing camera. So
Right.
I don't have like a $6,000 Sony Nikon camera that I carry around with me. I just use my cell phone.
That's
Still,
great. Yeah, those videos you were shooting, you were kind of like in front of some kind of building, right? You're outside strumming away. I think I saw a
Jackson
couple of those clips.
Square. Yeah, that
Yes,
was
okay, yeah, I
Jackson
saw a couple
Square.
of those clips. So,
Yeah.
for you, like moving your following, you say you're just posting consistently. Have you done any collaborations with any other musicians at all throughout like your 2 years or 3 years posting
It's
content?
really hard to get together with other people and collaborate. I've had a couple of offers, but nothing ever really materialized, and I hope to do that in the future. So if somebody's watching this and want to collaborate, shoot me a DM. But we've kind of talked and we just kind of everything would just kind of fall out because we were both busy. It's really hard to collaborate when you're both really busy. Marty
Right.
Schwartz, let's collaborate. Hit me up, man. Let's collaborate.
There you go. Yeah, well, maybe one day if I'm ever in your end of town, you can we can do one of the Do You Play Guitars for with
Oh,
me,
I
and
would
then we
love that. I would absolutely love that. Yeah, that'd be great, man.
yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, I like the idea because I've also had like a couple times. I was just talking about when you were saying you like to get people into guitar. Like some people are like, oh, I haven't played in like 2 years, and then they
Yeah,
play me something and they still have the muscle memory. But it's nice that
yeah,
I'm able to get them back into not they're gonna get back into playing go buy a guitar, but at least I'm
yeah.
giving them that itch, scratch that itch, of
That's a
playing a little
really
bit.
cool thing that you're doing. I watched a bunch of your videos, man. That was really neat. What we should do is go to New Orleans. There's a lot of musicians down there. You could find like street musicians and do that exact thing. Hey, play guitar, and they would blow your mind, man.
That's true. Yeah, that would be a good idea. Get some actual like professional street musicians. They would yeah, that would be
Yes,
a
and those
different
guys are
level of
great down there. They're great players.
yeah, no, for sure. And so do you have any sponsors at all as well? Have you done any sponsorships with any like guitar brands or
Yeah,
anything?
now I've done several. I'm an Elixir strings artist, so I'm an Elixir artist. Elixir strings. Uh, I use Elixir strings on everything, electric and acoustic guitars. The Proton Guitar Company, they're a sponsor of mine. And then I've also worked with Yamaha. I'm about to work with Fender. I don't know if you can see the Black Star amp back there in the back. I'm working with Black Star right now. So a lot of exciting stuff coming up. When I first started, I was working with Tick Pick. I don't know if you've ever heard of Tick Pick before. They're these picks that you can stick on your guitar. It was a really neat concept. I worked with
Oh,
Tick Pick
cool.
before. Yeah, it was really cool. So yeah, I've worked with sponsors quite a lot. Coach Guitar, I've worked with them. They're a really cool app for guitar instruction. Uh, I'm about to work with X Vive, I think. Oh, and one of my really big one was Enya guitars, where they make a carbon fiber guitar that's a lot like the Yamaha Transacoustic guitar. It has built-in effects that come right out of the sound hole. So they make a carbon fiber version of those.
Does it have like that kind of like that pocket off the like at the top end there? Is that
You're thinking of the lava music guitars. I
okay?
haven't. I want to work with them. They have some really cool stuff. But the one I'm talking about has like a button that you push, and then
Oh,
you
okay.
can you can turn, and it cycles through the different effects. They come right out of the sound hole. So if you're a content creator and you're making something outside and you want a little reverb or a little chorus, having one of those guitars is super useful. You can add chorus right there on the video that you're recording. I found that was really neat and useful. So
No,
Enya guitars, Enya, they're fantastic.
yeah, and it's kind of cool to see like in the just a 2 to 3 year span, however long you've been making content, like how far you've come in terms of like now you have sponsorships. That's pretty wild, man. Like,
Yeah, it's exciting. It's a super exciting time.
yeah. And so what goes into like, let's say a brand deal with like Elixir in terms of like, so you just have to use their strings on your guitars, or like
Yeah,
how does that
basically,
kind of,
yeah.
yeah.
What they want me to do is make a piece of content every quarter, and I do that. That's no problem. And they provide strings and things like that. And one of the reasons I work with Elixir is I truly love their product. They make, in my opinion, some of the best strings out there, and they last a long time. If you have lots of guitars, like I do, you don't want to be changing strings, 24 hours a day. If you have all these guitars and you play them all a lot, you're going to change a lot of strings. I need a string that's going to sound good and it's going to last a long time. And Elixir does both those things really well. So, I truly believe in Elixir strings. And when people ask me all the time, hey, man, what kind of strings do you use? I always say Elixir strings are great.
100%. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I've been using Elixirs for over 10 years now.
Mhm.
And I would love to do, like, I tag them in every single one of my shorts.
Yeah.
And I'm just hoping one day they're like, oh, hey, what's up? Because I would love to do something where it's like I give, someone plays a riff for the channel. I'd love to be able to give them something. So pack of strings, some guitar picks, maybe an actual guitar. I thought about that. I reached out to to Martin because I don't know if you could see it in the. Can you see it
Yeah.
in my? Yeah.
Yeah, I can see
Okay.
that.
So that's the one I use for the street guitars, and so it's a Martin. So I
Yeah.
was like, I reached out to Martin, being like, hey, I've used this for like 68 episodes. I'd love if we did like some kind of deal where I could give these away, or something. I know that's pretty crazy to ask, but it's a crazy ask, but you never know. Like,
Yeah. Did they
um,
respond?
no, not at all.
Well, listen, that was my next piece of advice is Elixir Strings didn't contact me. I contacted them because I love their
Okay.
product. I contacted Elixir Strings and said, "Hey, look, I use Elixir Strings on everything. I'm really interested in being sponsored by you." And they sent me a thing back. They have like a sponsorship form. If you're interested in being sponsored, fill out this questionnaire and all that. I filled it out, and a few weeks later, they're like, "Yeah, we want to have you as an Elixir artist." And super exciting because I love their product. Now, Martin, you might I don't know how you would reach. They see I just DM'd Elixir Strings and they
You DM'd
contacted me
them.
back.
Okay.
Yeah, I just DM'd them and they sent me back a form to fill out and I filled it out. But Martin, I don't know if they have anything like that. Martin makes a great guitar, man. I love Martin guitars. Yeah, you say have them work, right?
Yeah. So maybe I'll reach out to Elixir via like a DM them then, because I've been just tagging them. I never actually reached out to them. That'd be pretty smart. Because honestly, even when I reached out to you, I was like, oh man, there's probably no chance he's gonna say yes. And then within it, like I saw you said personal, like DM me personally for guitar lessons. So I was like, oh my god,
Yeah,
this guy's checking his DMs right now. Let me slide in there with
awesome.
to
No, I
get
talk
you
to
on the
fans
channel.
all the time. I try to respond to everybody that I can. I'm just some guy in Mississippi that has a lot of followers on Instagram. I don't have any delusions of grandeur. Does that make sense? I'm just a guy that wants to teach people how to play guitar. And the only way you can do that is to talk to people. So I try to respond to as many people as I can. But yeah, man, reach out to Elixir and tell them you're interested in being an Elixir artist. And they responded to me pretty quickly. And you'll probably get in there. I think that'd be great for you.
Right. Okay, that's really quick. I'm gonna after this chat, I'm definitely gonna to do that. But yeah, that's wild. Okay, thank you for that advice. I'm pretty stoked that maybe it's possible. And if not, I'll email them or something. But
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Just just get out there, and I'm learning. Like, I'm still learning the ropes too. I've only been doing this a couple of years. It just kind of exploded on me, so I'm still learning the ropes too. And I've talked to a few other content creators. Guitar Sage is a buddy of mine. He does. Me and him have talked many times over DM, and then he'll tell you, it's a moving target. You just have to kind of keep rolling with the punches. Instagram's not working this week, TikTok will work this week. You keep kind of rolling and figuring out what works. So it's not just that you do this one thing and then it's all going to work for you. You have to keep kind of figuring it out.
right. And I think you mentioned it earlier. I felt like I was like, oh, I'm gonna post these videos. And I posted 10, and I was like, oh, I gotta keep going now. Like 10 of these.
Yeah.
Do you play guitar? So you were saying like get consistency over time. It's not like a 2 year plan. This has got to be like a 5 to 10 year plan in your head in theory before you can really like
Yeah.
where it becomes autonomous or whatever. I don't know.
Right.
know what I
It's
mean?
all about it's about it. What I found is it's about a little bit of luck. If you have something that people want, even if you make a good video, people may not see it if you don't if you don't put it out at the right time, on the right platform. There are so many factors that go into hitting the right video at the right time. When I finally blew up on Instagram, it was some video that I made when we were on vacation in Florida. I don't know if you've seen it. It was the one where I was playing. Yeah, and that people just watched. I was out at a pool. I was playing in front of a pool, and for some reason, people loved that. And I'd played that before, but for some reason, in front of the pool, and I uploaded it at the right time, I just exploded on Instagram. So it's all about a little bit of luck and consistency. You keep going, and then one day, one of your videos will take off, and you'll gain a whole bunch of followers. And the more followers, the more people that are listening to what you have to say. Uh, and that's the whole point. If you approach it from the heart of a teacher, and you try not to get frustrated, if you work really hard on a video and it doesn't get a lot of views, you got to keep posting, man. You just keep posting, and one day you'll blow up and you'll get a lot of views. You just keep waiting, keep going.
Just one, yeah, one at a time. And that's my thing right now. It's like Instagram. I feel like I posted. I've gotten one. I had one of my Do You Play Guitars hit 1 million views,
Awesome.
which I was like, I was blown away. But since then, I think then that was like episode 18 or something, and I'm at 68. So since then, there's been a couple that have hit like in the 100,000s. But
Yeah.
nothing that's hit that million. But it's okay. Like you said, like just keep posting, and then you have this huge bank of videos that once you go
Right.
viral, all those then will kind of feed into those people's feeds, hopefully.
Yeah. So some people, somebody out there is looking for your channel and they haven't found it yet. But the minute they find it, they're going to watch every video that you've ever made and they're going to love it. So you just keep posting, and eventually those people out there will discover you and find you and love you and become your fan for life, man. So just keep posting.
Fair. And I think for you, you have your personality too in front of the camera. You're a very personable guy, and you have, I don't know, you're able to capture that attention. So that's something I'm trying to work on as well, is trying to figure out how I can start, like, not like a TV personality, like my actual person, like try to introduce
Yeah.
myself into the content somehow so I can start building that relationship with my followers. Because you've definitely done that on a really, like in a really good way. So you've been able to gain such a strong following, right? Because people
Yeah.
know you, they know your face, they know. Anyways, I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird that you say that. The whole first, like my first year of posting content, I didn't talk at all. People thought I couldn't talk, and then one day in one video, when in one day in a video, I started talking like I was giving instruction, and the first comment I got was, "I didn't think your voice would sound like that." So they were annoyed by my voice. Maybe they were hoping I would have like a really deep voice or something. But one of the things I was trying to do with my first bunch of videos was I realized that a lot of guitar teachers will talk a lot before, and if somebody's ready to learn and ready to learn a song right then, they don't want a lot of talking. They want to get right to learning how to play. And that was the whole point of TikTok. You don't have time to talk. You have time to show them the chords and maybe play it, and then they can see the chords and they'll get the rest themselves. So that was kind of my whole first thing. And then after that, I started talking a little bit more. But yeah, my first couple of videos were like, I thought your voice would sound different.
That's funny. Yeah, and I see
Yeah,
now your content you've got. So you're saying you do all the editing now too for all your videos, and I've
that's
noticed like
right.
you've recently changed your style a little bit too, where you kind of have a split screen now.
Hmm. I do that a little bit. I'll change it up a little bit every once in a while because people will want to see what the left hand's doing and what the right hand's doing. So I'll split the screen, and a lot of people do that. But then, like here, the one I uploaded this morning, I think I did Crazy Train. It was just me playing Crazy Train, no diagram or anything, and we'll just see what it does. We'll see what happens.
Nice. That is a very solid song. So
Oh, it's a
hopefully it
great
does
song.
well for
Yeah,
you. Yeah,
one that people want to learn how to play. So yeah,
that was definitely the first song I wanted to learn when I first started playing guitar. So it makes sense.
really.
Yeah, back in 2008, I was in grade 8 when I started playing. So yeah, 2008. That was the first song I
Wow.
was like. I was like, oh my god, and like Randy Rhoads was like, everything to me back then. Yeah,
Absolutely, man. Great song. Love that song.
yeah. So, what are some of maybe like this, I guess, struggles you've kind of ran into, some roadblocks you've had along the way in your content creation journey? I guess.
Well, one of those, would definitely have to be the balance, the work-life balance between this and content creation. Having the students find my TikToks was always fun. Mr. Evans, I saw your TikTok. Being trying to be a serious teacher and then having a TikTok account, that's kind of hard. But one of my bigger struggles is of course fighting the algorithm, and everybody fights the algorithm because one month it'll be doing really well, and the next month nothing. They'll change something with the algorithm, and that's a constant battle, man. It's fighting the algorithm and trying to get out in front and get your videos seen. Because even if you have a lot of followers, you may not get a lot of views because your videos just aren't being seen. They change something with the algorithm. That's one of the things that I think really needs to be tightened up on TikTok in particular. They keep changing the algorithm a lot, and they have a huge. Yeah, I don't know if you're following all the stuff with the TikTok ban and all that stuff, but ever since all that mess started, TikTok's kind of gone a little bit nuts with their algorithm, and nobody gets seen anymore. The people that I used to follow, I don't see their posts anymore. Like the algorithm stopped showing them. So that's a constant battle. And the other one is it's just being tired. I'm 45, so I get tired, but I still have to consistently post. So making myself post, get up, go do your work. This is what you do. Go make content. So it's a job like anything else, and I have to treat it like a business because that's at the end of the day, that's kind of what it is. It's a business that helps people, but it's still my work. It's my life's work, so I have to keep doing it.
100%. Yeah, it's not that you're just like as much as you want to help people, you also need to make an income. Like you said, you have a family you have to take care of as well. So it's not like
Sure.
not everything can be pro bono. So maybe that's something we could chat about. Like, how do you find that balance between like work and then your family? Because that's something I'm going to be kind of running into in the next couple weeks. So,
Wow, this is your
try,
first one. Wow, that's great.
yeah,
Congratulations. That's wonderful. Uh,
thank you.
Actually being a content creator, I think it's going to allow more time for me to be with my family. And once I start doing this full time, I, at this level, if you're going to make this your thing, I don't know if you're ready to take the risk. It took me a while to get my wife on board, because it's a risky thing. Instagram could ban me tomorrow, or TikTok could ban me tomorrow, and then there's a lot of income that's riding on that. So if you do decide to do something like this full time, one of the things I would recommend is building an email list. I don't know if you started doing that, but I think of the email list as algorithm proof. Once people join your email list, that you can email them directly. There's no algorithm involved. You just send an email and you're talking directly to your fans. So that's a little bit of job security that I would recommend, is start doing an email list. And some of my other guitar buddies do that as well. Like Guitar Sage, it was one of the first bits of advice he gave me. Is like, hey man, if you're not doing an email list, you need to be doing that. But because if you get banned tomorrow, how are you going to talk to your fans? You need to be able to email them. And if you start that list, you can do that. And so it's algorithm proof.
And so, how will you go about doing your email list? Is that through your Guitar
That's
101
my
or you
partner.
found? Okay, so it's
My
through. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, my partner. I pay for everything, but he kind of helps me set it up and run it, and he gets a percentage. But he runs a lot of that stuff, but I own it. So if we ever part ways, I still own the email list. So
Right.
if you do enter into a partnership with somebody, just make sure that you own the email list portion of that.
Right. It's funny you mentioned the emails. I think recently, I would say in the last 3 weeks, I saw a video. He's a personal trainer. He talks about that. He has a master class of training personal
Mhm.
trainers on how to like build like an online platform for their personal training. Anyways, he was talking about that. He's like, your email list is like your golden ticket, and just like you said, so it's interesting. I'm trying to figure out a way how I could get people's emails, and I don't know if like through a newsletter or some way I could be like, hey, just send me your email and I'll send you something for a free whatever. I don't know what that thing will be, but somehow I can get those. Because let's say I have like it's on TikTok, I have 100,000 followers. Instagram, I have
Mhm.
35,000. I'm not like
Mhm.
blowing smoke. I'm just like saying that's 135,000 people. Um, that let's say even 1% send me. That's still 1,300 or 1,300 emails. That'd be a lot to have. So I'm just trying to
Yeah.
figure out a way to make that happen. I haven't figured that out.
Well, if you have an email list, typically you'd want to make like a newsletter or something like that. A weekly newsletter. It is more work. Every week we put out a newsletter, and I have to create exclusive content just for the newsletter. So if any of you are interested in joining my email list, you do get exclusive content from that. So that's one of the ways I kind of keep people engaged and keep people in the email list is I create exclusive content for them. So, like once a week, make a video just for your newsletter, or you could write up some advice. If you have advice for content creators, write a newsletter, some detailing some advice, offer something for free that people
Right.
would want to have every week. So in my case, it's exclusive like guitar content, training, how to do bar chords correctly. You can see all that in my newsletter videos.
So you have a video that's connected to the newsletter, is what I'm.
I'll unlist the video on YouTube and then I'll put the link in the newsletter and people can watch it.
Oh, okay. That's actually a really
Mhm.
cool idea. I never even thought about that being a thing. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
that way you don't have to pay like a video hosting fee. Like I use Wistia for my really big stuff, but you have to pay a fee for them. And their videos look great, but if I want to do a newsletter, I'll just unlist it on YouTube and throw the link in the newsletter and say, "Hey, I got this training. It's on bar chords. In it, I give you my secret, tip to bar chords. Watch the video, keep on picking, and it's really good content for people. I try to keep it to where it's some really good stuff that people want to see. But the key to that is I unlist it on YouTube and for free. You can just throw the link in there, no problem.
And so is that something for those as well? Will you film a couple of those in one sitting just to get a couple weeks worth of your newsletters out of the way? Not out of the way, but get them complete.
I should do that, but I like right after this, I'm going to record tomorrow's newsletter video. I know what I want to do, but I during the week I kind of think about it. It's kind of like in the ether in the back of my mind, and I'll write down some ideas that I have, and by the time Thursday rolls around and the videos are going to go out on Friday, I'll know what I'm going to record and I'll make it on Thursday.
Right. Okay. That's cool. I'm gonna have to definitely reconsider some stuff. I'd written three newsletters, like just kind of
Yeah,
things off the top of my head. I thought about like one was like how to learn your favorite song like properly or whatever. I
yeah,
kind of dive into like what like my experience learning because I learned some like really technically hard like Lindsey Buckingham songs.
cool.
And I was just like basically sharing my experience on like the progress, like the progression I took to learn them. So I don't like. I
Yeah,
thought that was a cool idea. Maybe some people would like it. I don't. I don't. I never. I was on. I don't even remember what platform I did. WordPress, I think. So I don't even know if I can
yeah,
check how
that's
many
great,
views it's
man.
got. But just starting. It's also I don't know about you, but like it's very like nerve wracking to post your like yourself on social media. But then also now I'm going to be writing stuff. It's like it's a bit nerve wracking. I'm sure you
Sure.
experienced that throughout the whole thing. You mentioned that with your students as well, like them seeing you online.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's always fun to get accosted in the hallway with people. Like I didn't realize I said "Hey gang" a lot in my videos, so now all my students say "Hey gang, hey gang, hey gang" every time I'm coming down the hall. Um, but that's actually kind of fun. But yeah, the newsletter is great, man. Keep doing that. The more you do it, the better you get at it. That's what I found. Just like posting content, the more newsletters I post, the more rich in content the newsletters become, and the more subscribers you'll get. So.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. And I think, yeah, with the baby, maybe I won't be able to come down to the, my computer and edit too much, but I could maybe just be on my phone writing out some thoughts that, or maybe my brain
Yeah.
will be jelly from not sleeping. I'm not sure. Um,
Oh, it's got to be jelly from not sleeping, man. I've been through
okay.
two of them.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I got two
Okay.
kids, which are both very musical. By the way, my
Oh, that's,
daughter's a choir director, and my son is going to be a bassist extraordinaire. He plays tuba and bass guitar, and he's fantastic. So both my kids are very, very musical.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool that you're able to share that side of you with your kids. And I hope I can do the same, like hopefully. I mean, I won't like knock my kid for, wanting to learn piano or something, but like I definitely hope he would want to learn guitar. But any music's any music, like
Look, neither one of my kids wanted to learn how to play guitar. They live with their dad who plays guitar incessantly, and I have all these guitars. So just pick one, you can play it. But my son gravitated towards bass and tuba. He wants to be a band director, and my daughter, who's a fantastic singer, went and studied at USM, and now she's a choir director. But neither one of them play guitar, so I didn't push either one of them to play guitar. If they came to me and said, "Hey, Dad, show me how to play guitar a little bit," I would show them a G chord and a D chord, and then throughout their life, we would do that over and over, and they never really took with them, and that's okay. They have their own thing. They want to do something different than Dad. I get that.
I guess that makes sense. And
Yeah.
so, at any point, were you in a band playing shows, kind of thing? Was that part of your?
I never really toured or anything like that. The college I teach at, I'm the director of a rock band called the Collegians, and we would go around, playing at different schools and recruiting for the school, and that was a lot of fun. But I never really did the touring thing. And now that I'm about to do this full time, I'm definitely open to playing with some bigger name people. And the Smashing Pumpkins just got a guitar. I've forgotten her name, but she's a fantastic player, and she's their new guitar player. And she's the social media guitarist. So I'm definitely open to that. Touring with a band, and it's a new chapter in my life, man. Let's do it.
Yeah, of course. So the reason I was asking you is that is because everyone I interview, if they've played any shows, I always ask, how much were you paid for your first gig ever?
Oh, I can give you the answer to that. It was nothing. Most everybody play their first gig for absolutely nothing. But the first time I actually got paid something, it was like $20. We played a battle of the bands. I think we got second place, and split it among 5 people. We each got $20. It was great.
That's
It was
awesome.
very low. That amp is heavy for $20, man.
You know what? You know what? Your answer is very similar to a lot of the other musicians I've talked to. So it's kind of cool to see the progression, right, from the guitarist. Like I talked to Mike Dawes. I'm assuming you know who he is.
Oh yeah,
Mike. Yeah. So he was talking about that too. He's like, yeah, my first show, I think he made 20 pounds or something. And then
yeah.
Same with Alex Misco. The other, he's an internet guitarist there. Alex Misco. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Same with him. He said he's like nothing as well.
Wait, is he the tuning guy? Yeah. Really cool stuff. Some great players online, man. But yeah, typically I'm surprised they got paid anything. My first gigs and my kids' first gigs was nothing. You get paid nothing. You get exposure. They always say, "Hey, you get free exposure. Come play for us." But that, very, very low. You have to work up to those gigs.
Yeah, 100%. And just going back to like the content creation stuff, when you everyone gets hate on their channel. I don't know if you've ever gotten like hater comments. But how did you initially deal with it compared to how you deal with it now?
Man, that is a really, really great question. Oh, so when I first started, I would get into fights with people. I would argue back and forth with people, and that's what these people want. They and it's not that they disagree with you; they want attention. And I get that. I get that you want attention, whether it's negative or positive. They want you to fight with them publicly, and if you play into that, they win. Now to tell you the truth, if it's a really mean comment, I delete it. And if it's a comment I don't agree with, I just leave it alone and I don't say anything. But if it's something that I think will confuse someone else, like a lot of times people will come on there and they don't really know what they're talking about, and they'll say, "You need to do it like this. There's only one way to play a G chord." Well, no, there's not. You can play a G chord many, many different ways, and they don't realize that, and they're just saying what's on the top of their mind. So if I leave a comment like that, that's going to confuse some beginner kid who's going to read that and is going to say, "Oh, wow, there's only one way to play G? I didn't know that." And that's totally not true. So if I see a comment that I think is going to confuse people, I'll delete it or I'll hide it. And if I see something that's super mean, I get called fat all the time. That's one of those things. I'm a big guy, but that doesn't bother me anymore. And I knew when I went into this, I was going to have to do it with a thick skin. If you're gonna be in front of this many people, you're gonna have to deal with some mean people. And I'll make a lot of faces. I'll do the funny stuff. There are some people that absolutely hate that. I think it's funny. I think it's humorous. And there's some people that really love it and some people that really hate it. And If they hate it so much they leave a comment, they're helping the algorithm towards your page. So just don't, just, those I just leave. I don't even delete them. Uh, but yeah, I used to fight with people, and I don't do that anymore. That's just not worth it. So
Yeah,
there it
you
is.
learn pretty quick, right? Like I did the same. I used to like reply to the comments, and then it was like they would just come back, like didn't even listen to what you said, just feeding you some more like hate. And then I realized I'm like, okay, so let me just delete these,
Yeah,
or like I said, or just leave them alone, depending what they're
yeah.
like. Yeah,
You're not going to change their mind. You're not. They're not there to be persuaded. They're there to be mean, and there are some people that just want to be mean online, and that's, if you're going to do this and you're going to be a content creator, you got to learn how to deal with that. And that was really hard for me in the beginning because I really wanted to teach people guitar, but then I would get 99 really great comments. Man, I love your stuff. You're fantastic. And then this one comment, that's not how it's played. And that one comment would bother me. And now you just have to let that stuff kind of roll off. If you're going to do this, you got to do it with a thick skin, man.
yeah. I posted a video. It was I'm gonna forget his name now. The guy from Dragon Force, the guitarist,
Herman.
Herman Lee. Yeah, he
Yeah, Herman Lee.
there's a video of him like he just does whatever he does, where he lifts the guitar from the whammy bar of the string and then he bounces it off his knee and it breaks. And I was like, this is how you don't play guitar, like as a joke, right? Like, and then it happens, and then people are like, you can't tell Herman Lee how to play guitar, and like all these like, it's like
It's
he's
a
the
joke.
like he's way better than you. I'm like, can you guys like relax? Like,
Yeah, man. People are passionate. I've learned that people are passionate about the weirdest things. I mean, it was clearly a joke what you were saying. Herman
yeah,
Lee. It takes what you cares what you think all the way to the bank. Herman Lee would
right,
probably look at that and laugh. He would probably think that was funny because that's not how you play the guitar. You don't break the guitar.
yeah, of
Yeah,
course,
some
yeah,
people just can't take a joke, man, and that's all right. That's all right. They're out there and they're learning too, whether they know it or not. They saw your video or they saw my video, which is instruction, and they saw it and they learned something, whether they knew it or not. Another way to play G.
yeah. There you
So
go.
just I'd leave those comments alone, and you're gonna get hate. You're gonna get. I try not to get a lot of hate. If I get several comments and they're not mean, then there's maybe something I need to work on or change. And I've done that in the past. If there's something that's consistently bad, like video quality was always a thing until I kicked that up with lighting. That got better. Just there are crazy people out there that that are going to leave mean comments, and that's okay.
Right. And I guess I know we talked about it initially. You were saying there's a couple pieces of advice, but let's say as a guitar player, I want to like I'm a guitar player or a musician looking to start making content. What
Mhm.
are some pieces of advice, obviously besides the consistency and the balance you were talking about, if you have any others?
If you're a guitar player that's going to start making, try to find a niche. Try to do something that other people haven't done. Or you can look at what people have done and maybe twist a little bit and try to do something different. Try to reach a different niche of people. And just start out with your phone. My phone has been my camera since I first started, and I've been using the same thing, and it's been fine. And eventually you get better stuff, and but definitely, I know, post consistently. That's the big one. You just keep posting and learning how to do it, and you just get better at it.
That makes a lot of sense, and I think most people who've, like you said, make content, you said, were like at the start they didn't know what they were doing, and they'd say, "Oh, look at my original content." Like I remember, I don't know if you know who Lessons with Marcel is. He's a bluegrass content creator. He kind of does
I
a lot
need
of
to check that out. I don't think I've seen that one.
him. Okay, anyways, you don't have. I just he just makes bluegrass like informative content, similar to you, but just strictly bluegrass stuff. And he
Cool.
was saying, he's like, yeah, when I first start, like his content's very like well produced. He was like, yeah, when I first started, it was just like turn on my phone. There's no lighting, no nothing.
Yeah.
And now you see the progression. It's like so. I think you're right. The lighting seems to be like where it's at because he also has like crazy good lighting and the quality seems very crisp. So maybe that's something I need to work on. I have a ring light, but
Yeah.
that's about it.
I have I have two high powered ring lights, one on either side. Right. I have one,
Okay.
and they're not all the way up, but they light from this way and they light from that way. And I watched a few videos on lighting. You want to light the background and stuff like that. But when I figured out what looks good, if it looks good, it is good. If it looks good to your eye, then it is good. If it looks bad to your eye, then it is bad. So yeah, good lighting has kind of turned my videos around, and that's great, man. And going back to what we were talking about, Marty Schwartz, have I ever talked to him? That's one of the things I play around with asking. Go back to the negative comments. I want to ask Marty Schwartz what kind of negativity he's received, and because he has, he's received all kinds of negative comments, and that would be a great question to ask him. If you ever interview him, I would love to hear what he has to say on that. Doing it for 10 years, I know he's seen everything under the sun.
Oh, 100%. I've actually reached out. I reached out to him as well. I didn't get any message back, but I'm assuming I'd have to figure out a different pathway to message him than
he's a busy guy. He's doing
Yeah,
stuff at the Gibson garage, and he's busy.
yeah, and I think he has someone running his page for him, or at least editing his videos, because he's, like you said, he's been doing it so long.
Sure.
Yeah, I also had that with I don't know, Michael Palmisano. He's another guitarist.
Yeah.
He does a lot of I reached out to him on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, and then his email. I got nothing. So I found emailing people seems to be the way to go. If you hadn't responded, I would have emailed you 100%. So
yeah, that's kind of how I weed things out, especially scams. Like if somebody's trying to scam you with doing a promotion or something like that, I'll ask them to email me, and a lot of times they won't, because that's kind of how I see if someone's serious. If they'll email me and talk to me through email, they're serious and not a scam. That's one of my scam things.
Right, 100%. Anyways, I don't really want to hold you too much longer. We went to the hour mark there. I told you just an hour would be more than enough.
No,
time.
I've really enjoyed speaking with you. It's been great, man.
No, thank you so much. And I guess for yourself, do you have anything you want to shout out to the channel? I know we talked about your guitar page, Guitar 101, but maybe just shout it out a little more if you'd like.
Yeah, check out Guitar 101. Should be a link in my bio on any of my platforms: TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Those are the big ones. And I've also started, and this is the big thing, like once I do this full time, I've started doing private lessons via Zoom. I started that this week, and super excited to have private students over Zoom. It's really cool to be able to teach people in California, Canada, all that stuff. So shoot me a DM. I'd love to speak with you about maybe taking private lessons, especially if you're a beginner and an intermediate player. So it's great. Thanks for having me, man.